Here is a number that should make every learner driver in the UK stop and pay attention. The average person in the UK spends over £1,500 getting their driving license, and a huge chunk of that money is wasted, not because people cannot drive, but because nobody gave them the complete picture before they started. That changes right now. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to walk you through the entire UK driving license process from absolute zero. Every step, every fee, every test, every common mistake, so that you get your license as fast as possible, spend as little money as possible, and never waste a single penny on an avoidable retake. And stay with me until the 10-minute mark, because I am going to reveal the single biggest reason most people fail their practical test. And I promise you, it has absolutely nothing to do with your driving ability. Hi, I am Patalor, and welcome to How to Get a UK Driving License, the channel dedicated to getting you through this process first time without wasting your time or your money. If you are new here, hit subscribe right now because this is exactly what we do every single week. Let us start from the very beginning. Before you touch a steering wheel on a UK road legally, before you book a single lesson, before you do anything at all, you need one thing: your provisional driving license. This is your entry point into the entire system. Without it, nothing else is possible. You apply for your provisional through the DVLA, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency, online at gov.uk. The process takes about 5 minutes. You will need your UK address, your national insurance number, and your passport. The fee is £34, and your license arrives by post within approximately 1 week. Now here's something that surprises most people. You can apply for your provisional license as early as 15 years and 9 months old. You cannot drive on public roads until you turn 17 for a car. But applying early means the moment your 17th birthday arrives, you are ready to start immediately. No waiting, no delays. If you are a parent watching this for your teenager, start that application now. There is absolutely no reason to wait. Provisional license in hand. What do most people do next? They immediately book driving lessons. And this, right here, is the first expensive mistake that costs people weeks of time and hundreds of pounds. Here is what you should do instead. Book your theory test before you start lessons. I know that sounds backwards, but hear me out. When you understand road signs, stopping distances, speed limits, and road rules before you sit in a car, your lessons become dramatically more efficient. Your instructor spends zero time explaining basic rules. You progress faster. You need fewer lessons, and fewer lessons means real money saved. We are talking potentially £200 to £400 saved just by studying for your theory test first. That is not a small amount. So let us talk about the theory test in detail, because this is where thousands of people waste their first chunk of money on unnecessary retakes. The UK theory test has 2 parts, and you must pass both on the same day or the whole test is a fail. Part 1 is multiple choice, 50 questions. You need 43 out of 50 to pass. These questions cover road signs, motorway rules, speed limits, vehicle safety, overtaking rules, and hazardous conditions. The questions are drawn from an official bank, and every single one of them is available in the DVSA revision app, which is completely free. There is no excuse for failing the multiple choice section if you use that app properly. Part 2 is hazard perception. 14 video clips of real UK driving situations. You click your mouse or tap your screen when you see a developing hazard. Maximum score is 75. You need at least 44 to pass. And here is the part that stops people cold when I tell them this. The hazard perception test fails more people than the multiple choice. Not because people cannot spot hazards, but because of one specific trap that the system sets. And most people walk straight into it without knowing. If you click too rapidly in a short space of time, the system detects it as a pattern of random clicking and gives you 0 for that entire clip. 0. Not a low score. 0. And if that happens on even 2 or 3 clips, you will fail the entire hazard perception section, regardless of how well you do on everything else. The correct technique is simple once you know it. Watch the road exactly like a real driver would. When you first notice a situation beginning to develop into a hazard, click once. If the hazard continues to develop, click once more. That is it. Deliberate, purposeful, never frantic. Practice this on the official DVSA hazard perception practice clips before your real test, and this section becomes very manageable. The theory test fee is £23. Always book directly through Gov UK. Never use third-party booking websites. Many of them charge double or triple the price for the exact same official booking. This is one of the most common ways learner drivers waste money without realizing it. Now, driving lessons. Once your provisional license has arrived and you have started studying for your theory test, it is time to find a driving instructor. And the very first decision you face is manual or automatic. Here is the honest answer. If you pass your test in an automatic car, your license restricts you to automatic vehicles only for life unless you take a separate manual test later. In the UK, the majority of cars on the road are still manual. Automatic cars are more expensive to buy and more expensive to run in most cases. Unless you have a medical reason, a disability, or you are absolutely certain you will never need to drive a manual car, learn manual. It gives you complete freedom for the rest of your driving life, and you only have to go through this process once. When choosing your instructor, always look for a green ADI badge displayed on the windscreen. ADI stands for Approved Driving Instructor. This is a fully qualified professional who has passed 3 separate government examinations to earn that badge. Avoid instructors displaying a pink PDI badge. These are trainee instructors who are still working through their own qualification process. You deserve fully qualified instruction when you are paying professional prices. The average cost of a driving lesson in the UK is currently between £35 and £45 per hour. In London and major cities, it can reach £50 to £60 per hour. Always ask about block booking discounts. Most instructors offer 10% to 15% off when you book 10 lessons up front. Over the course of your learning, that discount adds up to real savings. How many lessons will you need? The DVSA national average is 45 hours of professional tuition plus 22 hours of private practice with a qualified accompanying driver. But here is the truth. That number means nothing for your individual journey. Some people pass in 25 hours. Some need 70. What matters is not the number of hours. What matters is the quality of practice within those hours. One focused 2-hour lesson where you are actively thinking about every action is worth more than 3 distracted 1-hour lessons where you are just going through the motions. After every single lesson, ask your instructor for specific feedback. Write it down. Work on those exact points in your next lesson. Treat every lesson as direct preparation for your test day, and your progress will accelerate significantly. Now let us talk about your practical driving test. And this section I need you to listen to very carefully, because this is where the money is really won or lost. The practical test lasts approximately 40 minutes. During those 40 minutes, your examiner records every single thing you do using a fault marking sheet. There are 3 categories of fault: minor faults, previously called driving faults, serious faults, and dangerous faults. You are allowed up to 15 minor faults and still pass. But one single serious fault means an immediate fail. One single dangerous fault means an immediate fail. No negotiation, no second chances within that test. So, what are the most common reasons people fail? These are the official published DVSA statistics. Junctions are the #1 cause of failure across the entire UK, specifically emerging from junctions without adequate observation. Here is exactly what this means in practice. When you approach a junction and prepare to pull out, your examiner is watching your head movement, not your eyes, your head. They need to physically see your head turn right, turn left, turn right again before you move. A subtle flick of the eyes under test pressure is invisible to an examiner and will be marked as a fault. Make your observations obvious. Exaggerate them slightly if you need to. This is not the time for subtlety. Mirror checks are the second biggest failure cause. The mirror signal maneuver routine must happen in that exact order before every single change of speed or direction. Mirrors first, then signal, then act, every time, without exception. If your examiner sees you signal before checking your mirrors, fault. Do it repeatedly. Those minor faults stack up, and a pattern of mirror failures can become a serious fault. Speed. Driving too slowly is as dangerous as driving too fast in the eyes of an examiner. Learners who are nervous tend to crawl well below the speed limit on open roads. This is marked as a fault. Drive at an appropriate speed for the conditions and the limit. Confident but safe. Now let us cover show me, tell me questions because most people massively underestimate these. At the start of your practical test before you move the car, your examiner will ask you one tell me question. This is a verbal question about vehicle safety. Something like, tell me how you would check that the brakes are working before starting a journey. Then, during the drive, they will ask you one show me question where you physically demonstrate something while driving. Something like, show me how you would wash and clear the rear windscreen. There are 19 possible questions in total. Your instructor should go through every single one with you. Getting a show me, tell me question wrong counts as one minor fault, which is not a disaster. But getting it wrong because you never practiced it at all is completely avoidable. Learn all 19. They take 1 hour to go through properly, and that 1 hour can save you a fault on your test day. Independent driving is another section that causes unnecessary panic. For approximately 20 minutes of your test, you will drive independently following either a sat-nav or road signs without instruction from your examiner. And here is the thing that trips people up. They miss a turn, they take a wrong road, and they panic. Stop. A wrong turn is not a fault. The examiner is not testing your navigation. They are testing your driving. If you miss a turn, continue driving safely. Let the sat-nav recalculate and carry on. The only thing that creates a fault is reacting to a wrong turn by braking suddenly, turning unsafely, or making a poor driving decision in your panic. The wrong turn itself, completely irrelevant to your result. You will also be asked to perform one reversing maneuver during your test. It will be either parallel parking, forward bay parking, reverse bay parking, or pulling up on the right and reversing. You will not know which one until your examiner asks. Practice all 4 until every single one feels completely natural. Do not leave any of them until the week before your test, now. The moment I promised you at the very beginning. The real reason most people fail their practical test. And it is not junctions. It is not mirrors. It is not speed. It is test anxiety. Study after study on driving test performance shows that the majority of failures happen not because the candidate lacks the driving skill, but because extreme nerves cause them to forget routines they have performed perfectly and automatically hundreds of times during their lessons. Their mind goes completely blank at a junction they have driven through 50 times before. They forget a mirror check they have never forgotten in a lesson. They hesitate at a roundabout they navigate perfectly every week. Here is the practical strategy to manage this. In the 2 weeks before your test, ask your instructor to drive the actual test routes from your test center. Most test centers have a set of known routes that circulate. Drive those exact roads. Park at the test center car park the day before your test, so the environment feels completely familiar when you arrive on test day. On the morning of your test, avoid excessive caffeine. It amplifies anxiety significantly. Arrive 15 minutes early. Breathe slowly and deliberately in the waiting room. And remind yourself of this fact. Your examiner is not sitting next to you hoping you fail. Their job is simply to assess whether you are safe. That is all, nothing more. The practical test fee is £62 on weekdays and £75 on evenings, weekends, and bank holidays. Always book a weekday morning slot if your schedule allows. Roads are quieter, traffic pressure is lower, and the data consistently shows slightly higher pass rates in morning slots compared to afternoon sessions. And once you pass, do not forget this because it catches thousands of new drivers off guard every year. For the first 2 years after passing your test, you are on a probationary period. During this period, if you collect 6 or more penalty points, your license is automatically revoked, not suspended. Revoked. You go back to a provisional license and you must pass both your theory test and your practical test again from scratch. For experienced drivers, the threshold is 12 points. For you in your first 2 years, it is just 6. Drive carefully. Drive legally. Protect the license you worked so hard to earn. Now, I want to hear from you directly, right now, in the comments below. Where are you in your journey right now? Are you just starting out and applying for your provisional license for the first time? Are you deep in theory test revision and feeling the pressure? Or are you booked for your practical test and feeling genuinely nervous about what to expect? Tell me exactly where you are, because every single comment on how to get a UK driving license gets read personally, and every question gets a real answer. That is the promise of this channel, and I have never broken it. If this video saved you time, money, or stress today, and I believe it did, share it with one person you know who is going through this process right now. You could genuinely save them hundreds of pounds and months of frustration. Not subscribed yet? Hit that button and turn on the bell notification right now, because next week I am going through every single one of the 19 Show Me Tell Me questions with the complete model answers so you walk into your practical test knowing every single one perfectly. That video alone could be the difference between a pass and a fail. The link is right up here. Go watch it right now. Until then, keep practicing, stay consistent, trust the process, and remember, thousands of people pass this test every single week. You will be one of them. This is Paddalore, signing off from How to Get a UK Driving License. See you in the next one.